Jesus, the knower of hearts, the end of hypocrisy. Part 1 in the temple courts. The morning sun rose over Jerusalem, spilling golden light across its ancient rooftops. The narrow streets were beginning to stir with life, merchants lifting the shutters of their stalls, mothers bargaining for bread, children weaving between the crowd. From the direction of the Temple Mount, the low murmur of prayer could be heard, growing louder as more worshippers made their way through the great gates. That morning the temple courts were crowded, priests in fine robes, Pharisees with scrolls tucked under their arms, merchants selling doves for sacrifice, and ordinary men and women carrying their offerings. At the center of it all stood Jesus of Nazareth. His presence was unlike any other. There was no political authority behind him, no armed guard, yet a quiet authority radiated from him that was impossible to ignore. Some had come for healing, the lame hoping for strength in their legs, the blind longing to see the light of day. Others came to hear him speak, to drink in his words like rain on thirsty soil. And then there were those who came for an entirely different reason, to trap him, to discredit him before the crowds, to prove that this Galilean teacher was nothing but a dangerous pretender. Jesus' gaze moved slowly over the gathered crowd. It was a gaze that seemed to look past the face and straight into the soul. He knew who was there in genuine hunger for truth, and who was there wearing the mask of piety. Part 2, the trap of the hypocrites. In a shaded corner of the court, a group of Pharisees and scribes huddled together in low conversation. Their faces were tight with irritation. "This man is undermining everything," one of them muttered. "He speaks of the law as if it is his own to command. The people hang on his every word, they look to him, not to us." "We need to discredit him," another said, "and we will publicly." "What do you propose?" a third asked. A sly smile crept across one man's face. "We will put him in a position where no answer will save him. We will test him with the law of Moses and with the law of Rome." Within the hour, their plan was set. They found a woman dragged from some hidden alley in the city, accused of adultery. Whether her guilt was real or fabricated hardly mattered to them. What mattered was the trap. The law of Moses commanded that such a woman be stoned, but Rome had stripped the Jewish leaders of the right to carry out executions. If Jesus called for stoning, they could report him to the Romans as a rebel. If he refused it, they could brand him as a lawbreaker before the people. Their prey secured, they marched her into the temple court. She stumbled, hair disheveled, face pale with terror. The crowd turned, whispering in shock and curiosity. The Pharisees shoved her forward until she stood trembling before Jesus. "Teacher," one of them said loudly, ensuring all could hear, "this woman was caught in the very act of adultery. In the law, Moses commanded us to stone such women. Now, what do you say?" It was a perfect snare, or so they thought. Part 3, the silence that spoke. Jesus did not answer at once. Instead, he bent down and began to write on the ground with his finger. The dust swirled lightly as his hand moved. The Pharisees glanced at one another in confusion. They pressed him again. "Well, what is your judgment?" Jesus looked up, his eyes sweeping over them. Then he spoke words that cut sharper than any blade. "Let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." The words seemed to hang in the air, heavy and inescapable. No justification, no loophole, no mask could shield them now. One by one, the sound of stones dropping to the ground filled the court. First the older men, the ones whose consciences had the longest memories, and then the younger. Soon, only Jesus and the woman remained. Part 4, mercy and the mirror of the soul. Straightening up, Jesus turned to her. His voice was gentle, but it carried the same authority that had silenced her accusers. "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" She swallowed hard. "No one, Lord." "Neither do I condemn you," he said. "Go now and leave your life of sin." She wept not out of fear this time, but out of a deep, trembling relief. She had been exposed before the whole city, yet instead of being crushed beneath the stones of judgment, she had been lifted by the hand of mercy. Those still watching saw more than just a rescued woman. They saw the unmasking of hypocrisy, the religious elite, caught in their own sin, retreating before the truth. Part 5, the uncomfortable truth. The Pharisees had come with a trap, but had left with their hearts laid bare. Their true motives were exposed. They were not defenders of God's law, but guardians of their own power. They sought honor before men more than righteousness before God. In the days that followed, whispers spread through Jerusalem. Some who had stood in the crowd found themselves wrestling with a question they could not ignore. If God sees the heart, what does he see in mine? One young man, a student of the law, could not shake the thought. He had been raised to believe that outward obedience was enough, that appearing righteous was the same as being righteous. But that day, watching the stones fall from every hand, he had felt the piercing gaze of the one who knew the secret corners of the soul. He began to pray differently, no longer reciting words for others to hear, but speaking quietly to the God who saw him when no one else did. Slowly, the pride began to melt away, replaced by a desire to walk in truth, even if no one else applauded. Final message. The story of that day in the temple is more than a record of mercy shown to one guilty woman. It is a mirror for every human heart. God sees beyond appearances. The finest robes and the most eloquent prayers mean nothing if the heart is corrupt. Hypocrisy crumbles in the presence of truth. Masks may fool people, but never the one who searches the soul. Mercy is stronger than condemnation. Jesus did not deny the woman's sin, he freed her from it. And even now the same voice speaks to us. Go now and leave your life of sin. God bless you.